Fauquier County, only about an inch and change. Still big concerns about the threat for freezing rain. So the ice potential is still on the table. If we get more than a quarter inch, that's why it's an orange, because that's a bigger threat to cause power outages, bringing down some bigger branches and some power lines. Just enough weight and things start breaking. It's just that simple. It's physics. So hopefully we don't get that, but that's the most likely place. We did have some heavier snow for a while. This is out of Westminster, Twitter user who goes by Hazardous Weather Prediction Center, not a government agency, just his Twitter handle, but he picked up an inch in 40 minutes. And it was north of there that we had the 5-inch total in Manchester. And Chris, earlier about 6 a.m., about a half an inch in the Mount Vernon area of Alexandria and Delray. We saw Pat do that as well. Russ, excuse me, showed us that on Twitter as well. If you got any pictures or video, hashtag WUSA9Weather. I will check the comments and questions in just a moment. I just want to set up what's happening. Oh, and about 7:43, you may see me take a short break. We have a local cut-in on CBS. We'll stay on the Facebook Live, but I'll be going to that. So here we are this morning. Charleston, West Virginia is on the back edge of the main batch of precip, which I think is with us through 1 o'clock. After that, it looks much lighter this afternoon. We may get into some lulls, but light freezing rain, some sleet will continue on and off through Friday morning. The problem is this morning, where we still have temperatures low to mid-20s with snow and sleet mixed. Some of this is still moderate snow, some of it is moderate sleet. From D.C. south and east, now we've got more sleet and even freezing rain mixing in spots, with all rain at the tip of St. Mary's County down to the northern neck of Virginia. You do see a little break here to the south this morning, just on the south side of the Beltway. Probably some light drizzle going on with some pockets of light snow and sleet across Charles. Probably more sleet than anything else. Charles and Calvert, northern St. Mary's. A little bit of freezing rain here toward Quantico and western Charles County. Sometimes when you're in these mixed precip events, it's an algorithm that tries to figure out, like it'll paint the radar different colors to say, hey, it's snow and it's sleeting. When we're this borderline, yeah, even the algorithm gets confused. But this is mainly sleet with a little bit of freezing rain in and around D.C., fairly light at the moment. Down south, we've got pockets of sleet. Some of it's on the moderate side, but then freezing rain to plain old rain down toward Webster Field and St. Inigo's and Scotland Beach and Ridge and St. Mary's City. But yeah, you come up into Leonardtown, now we're talking still freezing rain and a little bit of sleet. You go west, there's that freezing rain, Quantico area reporting freezing rain, but in Virginia, that's sleet and freezing rain from Culpeper. More sleet than snow here in the Shenandoah Valley. When you get the bright colors like that on the radar, bright banding it's called, that's just sleet is very efficient and wet snowflakes are very efficient at reflecting the radar signal. So that's why Woodstock down 81 and 11 to Strasburg, and even Winchester switched over to sleet and snow, and we see that here in northern Loudoun County near Hillsborough, Brunswick and Jefferson, Maryland getting in on that, as well as Frederick. And I was watching Michael Quander's live shot at 7:27 from Frederick, and it looked like there was some snow and sleet starting to mix in even there. So that warmer air is up here at the surface. We're cold. So either we have snow that melts and then freezes on contact, or you get into a situation where you've got rain that freezes on contact, and that's the ice. So the futurecast, and I think this has underplayed the amount of mix that we're seeing, right? All that pink is mixed, but by noon, this is where I think it's on, right? The moisture is not going on much west of the Blue Ridge. In fact, it's much lighter in D.C. with the bulk of the rain and snow and mix east of us. The lulls this afternoon with more freezing rain and sleet and maybe a little snow in spots north and west tonight into Friday morning. So this is what we'll be looking at. And do we have a quick look at the 3-day? Hang on a second. Quick look at the 3-day. I thought I had some snow totals loaded, but I want to get into some questions because I know there are some out there, and try to be kind. I'm the first one to tell you I'm not happy that I had to lower my map numbers, right? I don't want to do that. I want to give you as accurate a forecast as we can. The impacts are still going to be not that much different. There won't be as much to shovel, but we still have some terrible roads out there this morning on the untreated surfaces, and I am just trying to find our, there we go, all right. So I'll try to get you in real time as well. Snow-covered roads in Wayne County, thank you. Bunker Hill is hammering down snow right now. Well, that's good to know. So that's up in the eastern panhandle. Thank you, Angel. So they've gone back there. Winchester, snow and sleeting hard. Eric couldn't make it to work. Winchester, oh, you got about 4 inches now. Okay. Thank you very much. Sleet and Culpeper, you got that mix in Newmarket. Yes, Georgia, we keep missing it. You are correct. She says you keep missing it. You know what? We're missing the fine details, right? The big details we get. It's the fine details, and it's frustrating. I'm with you. It's frustrating for us as well. Front Royal was icy sheet, and now it's a mix of snow and sleet. Thank you, Kathleen Cavaco. Sleet in Stafford, 6 to 8. Yeah, I know, Alex. Yes, first thing I said is I've had to lower the numbers, right? I'm not shying about it, right? The forecast was a bust. It was too high. 6 inches in Gaithersburg. No, probably 2, maybe 3. All right, snow in Hagerstown. Yeah, I had a report around 3 or so in Myersville, Hagerstown area. So that may be 3 to 4. That's why I went 2 to 4 plus, because I know somebody's going to be 5 or 6 in that way. Yes, yes, Georgia, I'm aware. Thank you. Thank you. My mother's not here, but I'm glad you are. Sleet in Greenbelt. Snuck out before the mix to Charleston, South Carolina. Well, that was a good call. Allegheny, Frostburg, you got about 6 inches. Frostburg, Cumberland. I had a report from LaVale that said about 1 inch a little while ago, Lee. So, and I know Frostburg State, for example, they're not going in until maybe 9:30, I think. Sleeting in Fredericksburg, yeah. All right, nothing in Baltimore. Actually, BWI reported some light freezing rain last time I checked, and I just want to back up on the radar here. We are probably, how far out are we from doing this? We're a minute from doing a live CBS cut-in, so I'm going to have to break for a moment. Alexandria, everything is frozen with a ½ inch of sleet and freezing rain now. Clear Spring had 2 inches and snowing steady still. Clear Spring, that's about 10 or 15 miles west of Hagerstown. Yeah, that's if you ever go to Whitetail, you get off after the ski area, you get off the Clear Spring exit there. 2 inches in Oxon Hill. 3 or 4 in Berkeley Springs. Okay. You got 2 inches in Oxon Hill. You must have got on one of those bands, because in northwest D.C., I don't know if you can punch up camera 7 or not on the weather terrace, but what do we have? 1/4 inch? I mean, we did not get in on one of those bands. That's why I went, basically a ½ inch to 2 inches across the metro, because that was going on there. The 3-day forecast. All right, Luis, I will in a minute. I've got to deal with sleeting in Barnesville, Montgomery County. I'm standing by for a CBS cut-in coming up in just a moment. Harrisonburg, sleeting big time. Yeah, and that's going to be the problem. All these reports of sleet and freezing rain that we'll be dealing with. So while we're looking at the big picture here, and yes, this is moderate to locally heavy snow still with some sleet mixed in. Many areas have gone over to sleet, and that in and of itself, that's tough to drive on, right? Because that's like little ball bearings on the road. Ice is worse. Freezing rain, obviously, is just like trying to drive on a skating rink. So stand by here. I'm listening now to Anthony Mason and Gail and Tony in my ear as I talk to you. So in just a moment, if you put on Channel 9 or not, you can stay here. So look, Jewel, my name's Howard. Topper's not until the evening hours, but you're welcome. Hang on. Right. John, northwest of Fort Detrick, there was a 4-inch report. Yeah. So hang on one sec. They're coming here in just a second to me. Yeah, Teresa, you're right about the losing power. We'll talk in a second. Howard Bernstein with you. We're still tracking snow, moderate snow in spots way north of us. We've got a lot of sleet mixing in now in the Shenandoah Valley. Even Frederick starting to mix in, but they've had 3 to 4 inches up there. In town, anywhere from a coating to 1 inch or 2, but we're 28. And in southern Maryland, we now have freezing rain and then plain old rain, while south still a threat for ice, but all this precip gets a lot lighter this afternoon. All right, so we're back to Facebook. I was doing that live, and I don't know if you can see the earpiece here, and a nice young lady, LaShawn, giving me time cues so that I hope and I stay within that little window with CBS and getting everything clean on air while we're doing this. Now, as far as this, yes, Matthew Mullins writes, another blown forecast. Shocker. Thank you, Matthew. I am well aware of the forecast having to be revised downward. So. What about Laurel? All right, let's talk. NWS said 3 to 6, nothing here. Well, I don't know where you are. So when you say here, try to give a location so that we can have more of a conversation about it. That will help. Woodstock has 4 inches. Okay, I've seen some different reports from the 2 to 4 anywhere here. And that's the tough thing right now, because we've got some sleet, we've got some wet flakes. So, sleet will still accumulate, but as it falls on snow, it compresses it at the same time. So it's a kind of a battle going on for how much you get. So what about Laurel? Laurel is going to get more sleet and freezing rain. Potentially, as far as the totals, let me back up the map when I revised it earlier. And for those who are asking, I know you want to see the 3-day. So what I was thinking for Laurel was in the ½ inch to 2 inch, right? Because we've seen bands, as I said. Winter storms have bands in them, right? We know that meteorologically, but as a science, we just are not evolved enough with our numerical weather guidance, the computers, the formulas we use. And we're getting better, but to figure out where those little tiny bands are, sometimes they're 5, 10 miles wide. You know, on the scale of the planet, that's a blip, right? So you've got different scales. There are planetary scales, there are mesoscales, there are microscales. That's a blip. And we're not there yet with you know, meteorology to know where those bands are. As I tell people, you know that when you boil water, you're going to have bubbles in the pot. Yet you just don't know where that pot is going to be. Hey, Brandon, by any chance, do we have camera 7 on the weather tower so we can show the little, if you can get it, that's fine. All right, I'm starting to look at your comments here. So DC ended up with about, right now, ½ an inch, give or take. And that's a little tiny buildup on the weather terrace out there. And I was looking on the parking lot of the McDonald's next door. It is an icy mess. And you could see that buildup? I mean, it's not much, but it's enough if you're trying to drive on this slop and you jam the brakes or something happens, you're not going to stop on a dime today. You know, you'll stop on about a 10-yard dime maybe, or a 20-yard dime, but not a dime itself. It's very difficult to drive on these untreated surfaces because of that. So you asked about the totals. Oh, they went away on me. They'll come back. You asked about the totals. And I went 2 to 4 plus because there's some areas here that I know have gotten more than 4 and will maybe get 6, right? But I also know there's some sleet now mixing in, and that certainly is going to do a number on temperatures and stuff. Not temperatures, excuse me, a number on the total accumulations. A general 1 to 2 now, yes, it's lower. I know it's lower. You know, if you need to get it out of your system, say, hey, Bernstein, you blew it, busted forecast, whatever, get it out. Come on, I'll give you another minute or 2 to get it out of your system. I'm just going to try to learn from it and move on because there's no point in dwelling on it, or a couple of them this year. It's been a struggle at times, I agree. I lost you with the blips. Okay, well, tons of sleet in Fredericksburg, yes. How much is Manassas, Virginia getting? Well, I have Manassas in the ½ inch to 2 inch now of snow and sleet, right? So that's Manassas. And some areas well north may pick up another inch, outside chance of 2, but many of us will not pick up much more snow and sleet. The concern is going to be how much ice do we get? And admittedly, this to me is even tougher to forecast than how much snow and sleet. So best guess right now is that there are going to be some areas that get 1/4 inch to maybe even a ½ an inch of freezing rain. And it looks like the Richmond area is in worse shape as far as an ice storm than we are. Still, though, I've got concerns that 1/4 inch plus is going to make it up in towards southern Maryland, especially once you get into northern St. Mary's than southern St. Mary's. Southern St. Mary's has a much better chance of just going to plain old rain, which would be fine, much better than ice. Same story in southern Calvert, but when you get to central and northern Calvert, much of the southern half of Prince George's County, down through King George and the Fredericksburg area and Spotsylvania and Stafford, that's where I've got concerns. And I'm hoping that since we changed over earlier, and I have to look at more data once we're done with Facebook Live, will that come up here? Will that 1/4 inch line get to DC? Will it get to Prince William? Will it get to Fairfax? Will it get to Culpeper? And I would be on the lookout for the ice potential. So one of the things we were talking about yesterday was, you know, what do you do for ice? What do you do to prepare for a power outage as far as charging your phone? And I said, know how to light your fireplace. And people are like, huh? I know how to light my fireplace. You throw some wood and you light it up. Well, a lot of people have gas fireplaces with the switch. You just got to flip the switch, right? But if the power's out, that doesn't come on. So you can manually light those. Find the manual, figure it out, watch a YouTube video, but know how to light your gas fireplace manually if you ever need it. You don't want to end up like the folks in Texas. And by the way, the odds of us ending up like Texas are low, a lot lower, because A, our homes are built for a colder climate. So we do have more insulation, and we don't have pipes on the outside like many of the houses down in South Texas and Louisiana do. Right? So it's a different building code. But you lose power long enough, you know, things will happen. So those are concerns. I'm not as concerned, but you know, if it comes down to it, you lose power, just leaving your pipe running, your water running a little bit, so there's a trickle of water, that helps prevent it from freezing. Keeping the cabinets open so whatever warmth you have gets into the pipes, keeps it from freezing. So it's little things like that that you've got to consider. I filled up my car yesterday with gasoline, just in case. Had some big snow earlier. If you weren't with us at the start of our Facebook Live, this was the scene this morning at 4 a.m. to 4:45. It was thumping snow. This was in Westminster. They picked up an inch in about 40 minutes, and we know there are parts of northern Carroll County that reported 5 inches of snow. And then in Mount Vernon, after about a half an inch of snow, the sleet started to mix in. So, I mean, maybe they have an inch total, if that, but, you know, a real sloppy mess on the roads. Radar at 7:51, still busy this morning. So, yes. Yes. And Patrick says, pattern consistent, big snow, 4 days out, little to no snow day up. You're right. The modeling, which is, you know, we rely on it. We really do rely on it, maybe a little bit too much. But the modeling has shown these bigger events 3, 4, 5 days out. And as we get closer, boom, you know, everything starts to fall apart. So that should be a sign. I do think, though, after this, things do warm up. Oh, you know what? I want to get to the 3 days. Somebody asked me a few minutes ago for the extended forecast. And let me just jump into that, and then I'll get back to radar because, I'm sorry? Oh, the shot of the White House. Let's show you what's going on in the White House with the snow and sleet. I mean, you got some reduced visibility, but I can still see the lawn there. So that tells you how little precip we got at the White House. And here at National Airport behind me on the big board, yeah, the rooftops are white, but, you know, the road surfaces have been treated, and they look wet at the moment. So that's a good thing there. All right, your 3-day forecast. So today, 32. We still have some snow and sleet north and west this morning. It'll be much lighter this afternoon, maybe even on and off through tomorrow morning. This will stay below freezing through tonight. Tomorrow, I think we get to the upper 30s with maybe some partial clearing in the afternoon after some rain and snow early. And then Saturday, breezy and cold, 34. Sunday, upper 30s. Could be some rain and snow showers Monday. Next week, though, I think it'll be in the mid-50s, maybe even some upper 50s by Wednesday. So that looks like we're going to warm up considerably around here. And that's the good thing. The pattern does change. So after this weekend, it's going to feel a lot more spring-like around here. High temps and low temps for today and tomorrow. Well, I just showed you the 3-day, but today's high temps will be, you know, like 28 to 33, maybe 35 down in Pax River. Those areas well south and east. Tomorrow's high temps are going to be at 32 to 38, and by Saturday we're back to 29 to 34. With lows on Friday night, especially where it snowed, could be in the teens. It's going to be very cold there, but we do warm up starting next week. Could you start tuning up your lawnmower? Gary, you can do whatever you want, right? Go for it. You may not be using it for a couple of months, but, you know. All right. Thakira, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Oh, and I'm not, or whoever said, don't worry about what people are saying, just keep doing. Yeah, I've been doing this for 3 decades. So if I was terribly worried about that, I would have quit 3 decades ago. What else we got going on? Hopefully with the change of forecast tomorrow, we can get back to normal. Yeah, Sean, the problem is tomorrow, depending on how much icing we get. I mean, if you have enough ice around and tonight's going to be icy, tomorrow morning there's still going to be delays and cancellations. You know, I think a lot of schools in Virginia will probably be delayed or canceled tomorrow. And hey, Brandon, I know it's 7:54:30. What time is our live cut-in? 2:30. All right, 7:57. You can punch it up. What are we looking at here? That's a VDOT camera showing, oh, that looks like parts of 95, 395 with a reverse turnpike there. Don't know exactly where Marcella left it, but you can see how traffic is flowing very nicely there. Road crews have put out the salt. So 95, 395 in good shape. I bet if we got some traffic cameras on some of the lesser traveled roads in the Frederick area up toward Myersville, Boonesboro, Inwood, you know, those areas in eastern West Virginia, it would be pretty nasty right now because you see the heavier sleet and snow south of Winchester. This is light to moderate snow with some sleet mixing in across areas on I-81 up in the Frederick area. This is a lot of sleet coming in from Woodstock there. I would be very curious if anybody's in the Woodstock area or Newmarket, you know, how much snow sleet's there, because this has been in the brighter band of heavier precip for hours and hours and hours. So that is very interesting going on over there. I've somehow punched off our little feed, so I'm gonna get back. Hey, look, guys, I have to wrap because we have a cut-in coming in 60 seconds. I will try to get to some of your questions afterwards. I apologize if I was not able to get to all of you this morning. In summary, let me just say, still some heavier snow and sleet north and west for a few more hours this morning, but many of us have switched over to sleet and freezing rain already. And you can see the temperatures from the low to mid-20s north, upper 20s in town, and 31 at Pax River. Please be wary of icy roads and hope that we don't get too much freezing rain that causes power outages. That is it for now. Thanks for a little bit of your time on this. It's a Thursday morning, and we're going to be taking over for a Great Day of Washington with a special edition of Get Up DC coming up on WUSA at 9 o'clock. I hope we see you then. Take care.